Hi everybody. So tonight what I want to do is I want to show you how to go about painting your snowman blocks. In your kit you're going to get 4 different snowman faces. Now they're all going to be different, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, but they're all different, okay? And then what you're going to do is the very first thing is you are going to paint your blocks. Now, if you're going to be, I'm going to just paint one side and the sides. I'm not going to do the back, but you're going to do everything. And what you're going to use, excuse me, is your sponge, and it makes it really, really easy to apply the paint. I like to see some of the grain through, but if you don't, you could go ahead and put another coat on. All right, so you're going to, first of all, you're going to put one whole coat on your block, and you have 2 blocks, so you might want to go ahead and do the front and edges of one, and then turn it over and do the, or put it aside and do the other one, okay? Whatever you're most comfortable with. And you can see that it doesn't take a whole lot of paint. I think I had like 1 squirt and another little bit, okay? So you should have lots of paint. Alrighty, now, there we go. And I'm just going to clean up I'm just going to clean this up here. And then when I turn it over, I'm just going to make sure that this is okay. All right? Okay, so see how little bit of paint it took? It didn't take very much at all. Now, as I said, when you do this, you get 2 of these in your box. All right? So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about the stencil. I'll clean this paint up after. So when you get your stencils out, you're going to find that there is this part in here. Let me show you. Okay, maybe not. So you got a black piece, a foggy paper, and a grid. So what you're going to do is you're going to take off, always the grid comes off first. There are instructions in your box if you need them. And then all you're going to do, and this is the same, it doesn't matter what's in your box. All right, it doesn't matter whether it's Halloween or Christmas or every day. Those are still in there. And all you're going to do is you're going to take it off, and you're going to just be a little bit careful to make sure that everything stays there. All right, and then I throw that part away, and now we just have to get this to dry. Now you can also go ahead and sand the edges. I like to sand the edges. I like to, the other thing too is when you're at home with this, you can let it sit overnight to dry. I should have had another one painted for you before I started, and I never thought of it. So I'm going to cut myself a little piece of sandpaper. And what I use my sandpaper for is I use it to do my edges. Or maybe if the back of my piece of wood is a little bit rough, I'll use it to smooth it out a little bit more. Okay? And then I usually just take mine in half. It's getting dry. And then what I do, oops, don't get that stuck to you, is I kind of just go along my edges. If this was really dry, you know, we'd be probably down to the wood by now. Can be a little bit dirty. Kind of like baking, right? You can't stay clean. Alrighty. And like I said, if I was at home, you know, doing this with just me or my grandchildren or whatever, the only reason I'm sanding the top, you can sand the top too if you want, but I wanted to sand this one so just to make sure that it's a little bit smooth, okay? Because my paint is still quite damp. But I'm going to go ahead and try it anyway. Alrighty. So we have our sticky black. And then I'm going to put it on here. And I'm going to kind of, you can put it higher or lower, whatever you want. I'm just going to kind of lay mine in the center. And I'm going to very lightly put this on here because, like I said, my paint is still a little bit wet. And then you take your cloudy part, this one here, and you lift it off. And sometimes I put my finger down here. I always keep my paper really, really close to the black stuff, okay? Because what happens is, you see how my eye is starting to lift? So I can just push down, and then I can just make that down, lay down a little bit. And I just want to make sure, sometimes we have to be a little bit patient doing this part, okay? Alrighty, now, the first thing I'm going to paint is my orange nose. And I have some orange in my jar. Yours come in packets like this, you know, your colors. So you're going to get white, black, and orange. All right. Okay, I'm just going to get a little bit of, this is probably enough orange paint. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and take my clean it up a little bit. And then when you go to get your paint, when you're stenciling, you get some paint on your stencil. Oh, you can't see that. Okay, I'm going to bring it over here a bit. Okay. Now you can see it, eh? Okay. I'm sorry about that. So you're going to take your paint and you're going to go like this. All right, and you're going to try to get your paint up into your sponge. And then you're going to lightly just put it on, okay? So it's going to take more than one coat. So I come back in and I do the same thing again. And then I go ahead and do this. Okay. There we go. And my paint, like I said, is underneath, is a little bit wet. So it makes it a little bit hard to get it to cover. All right. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my black out. And you see how much paint I'm using? I'm not using a lot of paint. Okay. So we're going to go down here. Just make sure everything's okay here for you. Okay. The first time I've tried to do this way, so again we're going to put our, all right, so we put some paint on our, put a glob on our thingy, sponge, and then we come over here. And now we're going to go ahead and do this. And you see, I don't really care whether things are covered at this point. I can come back in. I'm going to take more paint. You see how it was shiny? And then when I go to do something, it's not shiny anymore. All right, so now I'm going to go back where I started. And all right. Now, okay. So I'm going to go ahead and go over my nose one more time. Now, if you want to add things to yours, you can do that. Alrighty. Now, we've got them covered. It didn't cover really, really good right here, but again, my paint is wet. So that would be kind of my problem. And then all you do is you just lift it off. All right, now, when it's all dry, you're going to come back in and you're going to get your little eye medals. Not all of them have them, but okay. Now this that pulled a little bit of wood there. So, all right. So I just went back. So there we go. There's your little snowman. And then, like I said, once it's dry, you can go around your edges if you want. And, you know, and it's a great process, right? So the very thing to remember, first of all, is when you go to get your stencil ready to put on your block, you need to take off this side first. When you take this side off, there's going to be a sticky black because it's the back of the stencil. And then you're going to put your stencil down, and then you're going to lift off this cloudy part, and then you're all ready to go ahead and paint. Okay? I think that's everything I wanted to share with you. I just hope that this works out for you and that you can enjoy it. And like I said, it doesn't matter what kind of sign you're doing, or what it's on. If you're stenciling, these are the steps that you're going to do. All right? Alrighty. You have a great night, and I will see you again.